My cousin didn't even look guilty when she said it. The morning light filtered weakly through the blinds, painting pale stripes across the quilt draped over my legs. The pain in my ribs pulsed in slow, heavy waves, each throb bruising the edges of my breath. The bottle of pain medication that should have been on my nightstand, where Dr. Hale himself told me to keep it, was gone. Where are my meds? I whispered, one hand pressing against my side. Clara didn't blink. Her expression was soft, almost pitying, but the kind of pity that always hides a knife. "Oh please," she scoffed. "You don't need those. You're just milking attention like always." The words fell from her lips so casually it made my stomach twist. She tugged at the drawstrings of her hoodie, sunlight catching the chipped lavender nail polish on her fingers. The same fingers that must have lifted the bottle from my nightstand while I slept. I forced a breath in, slow and controlled, the pain flaring like a hot wire beneath my ribs. "I need them," I said. "Dr. Hale prescribed." "And Dr. Hale isn't here," she cut in, rolling her eyes. "I am. And trust me, if you were as bad as you act, you wouldn't even be talking." Her voice had the same dismissive tone my mother used when I was a kid, the same tone that made my throat tighten even before pain lived there. I stared at her. "You want me too weak to go?" That made something flicker across her face. Barely, but enough. Guilt? Fear? Calculation? She smoothed her hair back, lips curling. "I just don't want you embarrassing yourself at Grandpa's will reading. Everyone already pities you." The truth settled heavy in my chest. She didn't want me there because if I wasn't in the room, I couldn't inherit anything. I remembered Grandpa's last words to me, his voice weak but clear, smelling faintly of old books and peppermint tea. "You show up, sweetheart. That's all I need. Just be there." He squeezed my hand then. A small gesture, but one that held something unspoken, something I didn't understand until now. Clara leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "You don't even have a ride," she added. "So don't bother trying." She turned to leave. "Clara." I tried standing. Pain exploded beneath my ribs, white-hot, blinding, like being punched from the inside. My knees buckled. I grabbed the dresser to steady myself. It rattled loudly. Clara spun around, annoyance flashing across her face. "Oh my God," she muttered. "Stop being dramatic." "I can barely breathe," I whispered. "That's because you're anxious." Her voice softened in a way that made it colder. "You've always been anxious." A memory rose up. Me at 14, curled on the couch, stomach spasming, unable to stand. My mother glanced at me once and said to Clara, "She exaggerates everything. Ignore it." Clara had nodded back then. She was nodding now, years later, with the same indifference. I swallowed against the pain. "Where are my meds?" "I hid them." She said it without shame. "So you'd stay home. For everyone's sake." My breath shuddered. "That's dangerous." "You'll live," she shrugged. And then she smiled. A small, satisfied smile. At that moment, the truth felt colder than the morning air creeping through the cracked window. She wanted me weak. She wanted me absent. She wanted Grandpa's inheritance uncontested. My knees trembled again, the pain sharpening with each beat of my heart. "I have to go today," I whispered. "I promised Grandpa." Clara's expression hardened. "Well, sorry. You're not going." She pulled the door closed behind her with a soft click. The lock slid into place. The sound echoed louder than it should have. I stood there, hunched over, one hand gripping the dresser, the other pressed to my side. Every breath felt like sandpaper dragging through my ribs. Sweat formed at my temples. My throat tasted like iron. My cell phone was on the dresser, just out of reach. The distance felt impossible. I tried stepping forward. A wave of pain hit so violently that my vision blurred. The room tilted. I pressed my back to the wall, sliding down until I was sitting on the floor, knees pulled up, breaths coming short and shallow. The world felt smaller. The walls closer. My body heavier. But one thought cut through the haze. Grandpa wanted me there. I closed my eyes and saw him again. His warm hands holding mine. His fragile smile. His voice, soft but steady. "You show up. No matter what." I opened my eyes. Breathing hurt. Moving hurt. But staying home would hurt more. I braced myself against the wall and pushed upward with a groan. My ribs screamed in protest. My legs shook beneath me. But I stood. Each tiny step toward the dresser was agony. My fingers trembled as I reached, and finally closed around my phone. I dialed the only person who had ever believed my pain even when no one else did. Dr. Hale. He answered on the second ring. Lena. His voice sharpened instantly. What's wrong? My throat tightened. Clara, she took my meds. I can't breathe right. I can't. Where are you? He demanded. At home. I can't make it to the will reading like this. He inhaled sharply. Lena, listen to me. Sit down. Breathe shallow, small breaths. I'm coming right now. Don't let anyone near you. His words wrapped around me like a lifeline. But the door slammed open before I could respond. Clara stood there, eyes wide, not with concern but with fury. You called someone? She snapped. I hid the phone behind me, pulse racing. I had to, I whispered. Her jaw clenched. She moved toward me slowly, like approaching something she meant to snuff out. You don't understand what you're ruining. A sudden dread crawled up my spine. What are you talking about? I whispered. But she didn't answer. Instead, her eyes darted toward my phone, the one I was trying desperately to hide, then back to me. I said, you're not going. She reached for me. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like the weakest person in the room. I felt like the one standing between her and the truth she desperately wanted buried. And I had no idea yet just how big that truth was, or how violently it would explode at the will reading. When my doctor finally spoke, and the screen lit up, with everything my family never expected to be seen. Claire didn't touch me, not because she felt mercy, she didn't know the meaning of the word, but because a car engine rumbled up the driveway at that exact moment. Tires crunching gravel. A door slamming. Footsteps. Fast, purposeful, steady. She froze. I knew the sound of that walk. So did she. Dr. Hale. Clara's face went pale, like someone had wiped the color from her with a damp cloth. What did you tell him? She hissed. The truth, I whispered. Her jaw tightened, fear flickering beneath her anger. She backed away, eyes darting toward the stairs just as the front door opened. Lena. Dr. Hale's voice carried through the hallway. Where are you? I tried to answer, but pain seized my chest in a sharp, breath-stealing wave. I leaned against the wall. The world trembled around the edges. Dr. Hale appeared in the doorway seconds later, coat still half-buttoned, breath visible in the cold air he'd carried in with him. His eyes locked onto mine, concern turning instantly into focused fury. What happened? He demanded. Claire started speaking too quickly. She was fine this morning. She's exaggerating. She always. He didn't even glance at her. Did you take her medication? His tone was quiet, deadly, like the calm before a storm that ruins towns. She doesn't need. Did you, he repeated, take her medication? Silence. The kind that exposes everything. Clara's throat bobbed. He exhaled sharply, the sound full of controlled anger. Get out of the room. Her mouth opened, then shut. She backed away. His hands were steady as he lowered me onto the edge of the bed. He pressed gently along my ribs, his brows tightening at every flinch. You're in danger of a partial collapse, he murmured. This isn't something to ignore. This is something people die from. His words made Clara's eyes widen from the hallway. Good. Can you stand? He asked. Barely, I whispered. That's enough. He helped me into his car. My aunt stood at the bottom of the steps, confusion shaping her face. Clara hovered behind her, lips pressed tight. We'll talk later, he told them. His voice didn't rise. That made it scarier. The will reading was held in an old municipal building that smelled faintly of dust and polished wood. The long conference table gleamed under yellow lights. My family sat clustered on one side. My mother, my aunt, cousins, including Claire, who kept staring at the floor. Their shock when I walked in with Dr. Hale was worth every painful inhale. My mother's eyes narrowed. Why is she here? She can barely stand. Dr. Hale answered for me. Because she was meant to be here. The lawyer cleared his throat, flipping through a stack of papers. Before we begin, a medical witness requested permission to speak. The deceased insisted his testimony be included in the proceedings. Clara stiffened. My mother's hand tightened around the armrest of her chair. Dr. Hale stepped forward. My testimony concerns the health and safety of Lena Avery. A quiet ripple spread across the table. He placed 2 documents on the wood, both stamped, dated and signed. These records show the injuries she sustained 2 nights ago, the medication she was prescribed, and the medical complications that arise when treatment is withheld. My mother scoffed. Are we really doing this? Lena exaggerates everything. His eyes flashed, not loudly but sharply. If she exaggerated, I would not be here. If she exaggerated, she wouldn't have been gasping for breath an hour ago. The lawyer nodded. We reviewed the records. They're legitimate. But Dr. Hale wasn't finished. He turned toward the table's far end. Please turn the monitor on. A staff member pressed a button. The screen lit up blue, then shifted into an image. Security camera. My aunt's house hallway. Time stamped. Claire went still. My mother sucked in a sharp breath. On the screen, Claire entered my room. Opened my nightstand drawer. Found the bottle. Looked over her shoulder. Then slipped the meds into her hoodie pocket. My mother shot to her feet. Turn it off. No one moved. The footage kept playing. Me struggling to reach the dresser later, clutching my ribs, fighting for breath. Claire rolling her eyes as she shut the door. Me collapsing to the floor. Turn it off, my mother screamed again, her voice cracking this time. But the truth had already settled. Heavy. Inescapable. Claire covered her face with trembling hands. Dr. Hale stepped forward again, voice steady. This wasn't neglect. This was intentional interference with medical treatment. That is a crime. My mother turned to Clara. What did you do? Clara shook her head violently, tears spilling. I just wanted her to stay home. Grandpa always favored her. I thought if she didn't show up, everything would go to you, Dr. Hale finished coldly. You were willing to let her risk a collapsed lung for inheritance money? Her sobs filled the room. The lawyer folded his hands tightly. Mr. Avery anticipated conflict. He requested that in the event of such behavior, his estate be transferred entirely to the person wronged. Every head turned. To me. My mother's face drained of color. Clara's sobs grew louder. Dr. Hale placed a supportive hand on my shoulder. Lena didn't ask for this, he said quietly. But she showed up even when she was deliberately harmed. She honored her grandfather's last request. The lawyer nodded. Per the will, the estate goes to Lena Avery. My mother slammed her hand on the table, wild with anger. This is ridiculous. She manipulated she. Your daughter almost collapsed from untreated injury, Dr. Hale said. And the only manipulation came from the person who hid life-critical medication. Silence followed. Thick. Heavy. Unavoidable. My mother sat down slowly, breathing hard, eyes glassy with something between rage and regret, but mostly rage. Clara whispered through her hands, I didn't know it would be that bad. I didn't think. But she did think. She just didn't care. The lawyer closed the folder. That concludes the reading. Dr. Hale helped me stand. My body still hurt. Every step, every breath, but something inside me felt lighter. Steadier. Rooted in truth instead of pain. As we walked outside, cool air brushed against my face. The sky was pale blue, the kind of color that shows up after a storm. For the first time in years, I wasn't walking alone. If you've lived anything like this, tell your story, and don't forget to subscribe. Some pain is inflicted. Some truth is revealed. And some justice arrives exactly when we think we no longer deserve it. Sometimes real family arrives as truth.